If you feel like you're just way too behind and you need to figure out a strategy to get ahead of things a little bit, then I'm going to offer you some suggestions in this video for what you can do, because I have experienced that many times and I've been able to strategically find a way to systematically work my way into a situation where I am not so behind. I'm able to catch up. Welcome to Efficiency and Organization. This is the YouTube channel where I talk about everything that has to do with productivity, time management, has to do with being well planned and being organized, so that way you can be as efficient as possible and be as effective as possible in everything you need to get done, whether it's in your personal life, it's in your career, it's in leadership. So if you are finding yourself in a situation where you are just way too behind, you have way too much going on, maybe these strategies will help you. Starting with number one, do not work on anything until you take some quiet time to put things in an organized system and to focus on priorities. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say I am super behind, right? At home, I'm super behind, and this is my home office. What I'm going to do is to close the door and figure out everything I need to get done. See, the idea is to be less stressed, to get it out of here and onto paper, onto some sort of a checklist. So what I'm going to do is write down everything that I need to get done or I want to get done that's making me feel overwhelmed. Next to each thing, I'm going to write down if it's a high priority, medium priority, or a low priority. Okay, after I finish my list. And the list, by the way, you can't say something like write 10-page essay. That's just too big, daunting of a task. What you should do is say, write page 1 of essay, write page 2 of essay, write page 3 of essay. See, you're breaking it down into chunks. Then you have your high, medium, low written. That's when you're gonna find yourself feeling a lot less overwhelmed, because then you need to hit your high priority things first. Now, what if you say, well, I have small kids in my home, I have too many people, it's really hard to get some time where I could just close the door and work. That's when I'm going to tell you, you have to find the time, you have to be able to do that. So if that means everyone goes to bed at 10 and you have to stay up until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning to do it, then so be it. If that's what it's gonna take for you to not feel so stressed, so overwhelmed, so anxious, to take that 2-3 hours and really organize things and figure out what you need to work on, well, I just don't see any other way. That's what's helped me tremendously. I'd rather put those hours and get super organized than live with that stress where I'm then taking out my frustration on everyone else. What if it's at work and you're distracted all day long? People coming, stopping by. There are a couple of things you could do. Well, then take it home with you. But again, it's all about not wanting to live with that stress, that anxiety, and not like being just so overwhelmed, like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna get myself out of this hole because there's just so much, I'm overwhelmed. You have to take some time when it's nice and quiet to catch up. If you work for an employer or if you have your own business where you could say, you know what, I'm not gonna answer a phone, I'm not gonna email, all I'm gonna do is focus for the next 3-4 hours. I'm gonna ask for the afternoon off to be able to organize and prioritize, well then great, that would be awesome. But if you don't have that ability, then you kind of have to stay late. If you have to go in very early one day, if you have to, what I have seen from my experience is people who have done that, they just feel so much less stressed throughout the rest of the day, because the top 3 things, whether they liked those things or not, they knocked out of the way, got them done first, so they were less stressed the rest of the day. If you like the content I'm sharing with you, please be sure to subscribe. This channel, again, is all about productivity, being efficient, being organized, and being well managed with time, having good planning in place. So these things will help anyone and everyone. So please be sure to subscribe, and you can also share the video with others who you think might find it beneficial. Now, the only other thing I was going to tell you, if none of what I'm telling you is going to work for you, and you're like, you know what? No, I don't need to do any of that, because in my work, I have high times and low times. There's times when I'm like super duper busy, but then there's times I'm not busy. Okay, great. That's when you have to manage your time super effectively. What I have found with most people, when they have time, when it's not so busy, instead of focusing on catching up, they go and start socializing. They go and start hanging out. And so that's where we have a problem. If you're going to do that and not use the time efficiently enough to get caught up, then you're not helping yourself. You're the opposite. You're just making yourself more and more anxious, more and more stressed. I know it's tempting to take a breather. I know it's tempting to go hang out. But you know what? If that ultimately is going to make you feel more stressed after hanging out, you're going to go and take your frustrations out on people because you're just too tense. It's not helping the situation. I hope you like the content I'm sharing with you. Again, please be sure to subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.